Thank you for including my bill, the Forest Protection and Wildland Fire Safety Act of 2025, in the amendment to nature substitute that we're considering. Between 2013 and 2024, more than 15 million acres have burned in forest and wildland fires in California, just my home state. To put that in perspective, over that 11-year period, more than 15% of California's land mass has burned. And California, of course, is a huge state. In my district, we've had 4 of the 5 largest fires in state history. 2020, the August Complex Fire burned more than 1 million acres. The 2021 Dixie Fire was right at 1 million acres. The smoke plume was so intense it even hit the East Coast here and caused people to have don't go outside days in some of our eastern cities. The 2024 Park Fire burned almost 500,000 acres in several counties in Northern California. The Mendocino Complex Fire burned nearly 500,000 acres in 2018. The fires are deadly. In 2018, the Camp Fire destroyed most of the town of Paradise, killing 85 people in the process and 18,000 structures. When a fire starts, it's critical that we tackle it with every possible measure, every possible tool, so we can at least hold back massive fires that don't have to spread needlessly. One such critically important tool to help keep our region somewhat safe from catastrophic fires is aerially applied fire retardants by the Forest Service and others. However, in 2022, environmental activists sued the Forest Service in federal court for failing to obtain a NEPDES, a National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, permit under the Clean Water Act to use aerial fire retardants that had been used already for years. The court agreed and required the Forest Service to obtain a NEPDES permit from the EPA. Thankfully, the court did not prohibit the Forest Service from continuing to use the aerially applied fire retardant while the EPA works through a process on a permit. If granted, an injunction would have put millions of square miles in the West at risk of being lost to catastrophic fires by removing an effective measure used by Forest Service and others to fight fires. Can you imagine taking away this fire retardant tool and being left was just you being able to use basically misters? By the time water comes out of an aircraft and is dispersed over a hot fire, you basically have a mister system. My bill does not negatively affect the Clean Water Act, nor does it undermine protections for clean water. Biden administration officials from the Forest Service testified on a version of my bill last Congress and said, the Forest Service believes a NEPDES permit is not needed for the use of aerially applied fire retardant based on EPA guidance it received way back in 2003. The Forest Service 2011 nationwide aerial application of fire retardant on National Forest Systems land's record of decision already prohibits the discharge of retardants into bodies of water and buffer zones. They have wide buffer zones around bodies of water already in place. That's the practice. So over the last 10 years, less than 1% of retardant drops even touched or impacted any kind of a waterway. These officials also testified that it will likely take the EPA up to 3 years to issue a permit, and then 47 states likely will have to issue their own permits and sign off on the EPA permit. So, as they currently have the delegated authority under the Clean Water Act. So it'll take even more time for 47 states to have to go through that. We're talking years before all the permits are needed will be done due to this court ruling had they not allowed it to be used in the interim. It would, of course, be a logistical nightmare for Forest Service and other firefighters to somewhat effectively and efficiently combat fires with this needed retardant. Of course, that's unacceptable. So my bill, included in this amendment, simply exempts the application of aerial fire requirements on the qualified products list by the Forest Service from needing this permit, building on an already existing exemption for silviculture activities already in the Clean Water Act. Retardants on the qualified products list have already been studied and approved for use by the Forest Service and have been in place for decades. Many of you know my work to improve forest management and reduce risks of fire, but I think Forest Service officials actually summed it up well, saying, and I'll quote, aerially delivered long-term fire retardant is part of an integrated firefighting strategy and is an essential tool the Forest Service and the interagency community uses in support of ground-based firefighting resources. If Forest Service is only able to use water from air tankers, our ability to successfully suppress fires would be significantly impacted. We believe retardant can be and has been delivered without compromising public health or the environment. end quote. It's a common sense bill that ensures firefighters' hands are not tied and they can use every safe, effective, and efficient measure to try and put out fires to keep our areas safe from rampant wildfire. So I want to thank Chairman Collins and our committee chairman, Mr. Graves, for their support for including my bill in this amendment, and urge my colleagues to support this and our H.R. 3898. I yield back the balance of my time. Thank you.